For Liverpool fans everywhere, this is the ultimate football app for you. For match highlights, interviews, and the best Liverpool videos and podcasts. Download the COP app for free now on the App Store and Google Play.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Cop Table podcast, where today we are previewing the Liverpool versus West Ham game this coming Monday evening at Anfield. Joining myself once again is Jay Riley. You can get Jay on the Radio City Fan Friday talk show at the Cop HQ on Twitter, and with us on the Cop Table. So, how are you, Jay?
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with the performance in midweek and the results. I mean, we're not used to losing games, are we? So it was a little bit of a shock to the system. But, you know, like normal, when Liverpool have a break, whether it be the international break or this mid-season break now, you know, Liverpool do tend to be a little bit rusty and disjointed, and that's exactly what's happened these last two games. So obviously we're going to touch on it a little bit more in the podcast as we go on, but we need to redeem ourselves now on Monday night against West Ham.
Yeah, and first of all, we're going to take a look back at our previous Premier League fixture, which was against Norwich. We've come away with a 1-0 victory with the latest goal from Sadio Mane. But like you say, after the break that we've had, the team has not gelled. They've not looked as fluid as these in previous games. So just give us your thoughts on the performance against Norwich first of all, please, Jay.
Well, going into the game against Norwich, I mean, we all know what they're about. I mean, the bottom of the table are obviously going down, but they're not as bad as the position suggests, really, because they're the type of team that'll have a game of football with you, and they've got some good players, and they've given a good account of themselves in the Premier League this season, even though, as I say, the bottom of the table and they are getting relegated. They've been a little bit hard done by because they've tried to play football the right way, shall we say. I liken them a little bit to like a Bournemouth, the method that Bournemouth used, where the first couple of seasons they played football with, they were easy on the eye. Obviously, they managed to stay in the Premier League, and then they started signing players. Thankfully, they signed a lot of Liverpool players that weren't really that good, and we done well out of them in the transfer market, but they're struggling this season and they may well go down this year, Bournemouth, but they've had a decent little stay in the Premier League. It's around about 5 or 6 years now, isn't it, that they've been in the top flight. And unfortunately for Norwich, they just haven't been able to manage it the way Bournemouth did do, because, like I say, they're like a smallish club, aren't they? And they haven't really made many signings, and they've stick to the tried and trusted methods, haven't they, of like what got them promoted under Daniel Farke, and it just doesn't really work for them. But I did expect it to be a tough game against them, and so it proved, really, because in the first half in particular, Liverpool were really poor, and we struggled to break them down, didn't we? And never really looked like scoring. And even in the second half, we got a little bit more momentum going, and we were obviously the better team, weren't we? But it did take the introduction of Sadio Mane for Liverpool to get the winning goal. And people were talking about the fact that could really have been disallowed for VAR, and it would have been very harsh if the goal would have been disallowed, because you see, it was a nothing incident, really, but it wouldn't have surprised me, on the other hand, if it would have been disallowed, because he actually does push off on the defender, doesn't he? And the defender makes a little bit of a meal of it, and because he done that and he goes to ground, obviously it was a fantastic turn and control, touch and finish by Mane. But you did get that little sense of, are we going to get this ruled out here? And, be frustrating, really. And luckily enough, and thankfully, Liverpool did get the goal given to us, like it was granted on the VAR. But, it's just, this is what's spoiling the game, isn't it? I mean, I'm all for getting the right decisions, but it's just the uncertainty of it all, because that could happen again this weekend, and you could get blown up for a foul, or go to VAR, and obviously the decision might go against us or go for us or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's so infuriating. It's like, I also looked at the game Chelsea at Stamford Bridge against Manchester United on Monday night, and Harry Maguire's on the ground and he kicks out, doesn't he, really, at Batshuayi? And, I don't think there was major malice in it, because he's not really that type of player, is he, really, to be honest? But the fact of the matter is he made contact with Batshuayi, and there was a precedent set a couple of months back when I think it was Chelsea away from home against Tottenham, and Son done the same thing, didn't he, to Rudiger, and it went to VAR and he got sent off. So this is where it's all the uncertainty is, and there's no consistency there, because realistically speaking, Harry Maguire should really have been sent off, because it's a very similar incident to what happened with Son, and he got away with it. And this is what I'm saying about the VAR incidents altogether. I mean, it wouldn't have surprised me if the goal got ruled out against Norwich, but thankfully it never. And, Liverpool managed to end up getting the 3 points, another vital 3 points on the march of the title. But, as I say, it was after a break, a mid-season break, and Liverpool had, virtually all the players back from injury and all of them to call upon. We had a very strong bench on the weekend's game against Norwich, and as I say, the performance level was very disjointed, very rusty, never really got going, did we? And second half, we did have quite a few chances, and of course, we did deserve to win the game, but, it wasn't the normal Liverpool, a fluid Liverpool, as you said before, that we're used to seeing, and the momentum and cohesion. That's the thing with Liverpool. We're far more better suited to playing like a game every 3 or 4 days. It's just crazy to think you've got your rhythm, you've got your momentum going. I do see Klopp's point, though, about the breaks, though, because I think what it is, it's the longevity of the season. I mean, yeah, okay, the last 2 performances, we'll touch on Atletico Madrid in a minute, but the 2 performances since the break have been poor. But I think it's the longevity of it, isn't it? Moving forward in the weeks to come and months ahead, that's where, the mentality of us, and obviously it's mental fatigue as well as physical, isn't it? I think it'll kick into play then, and it'll see us through to the end of the season. But, like I say, it's always infuriating, these breaks, because we just lose our momentum a little bit. And, like I say, just thankfully against Norwich in the Premier League, which is what it's all about this season, to win the Premier League. Thankfully, we still managed to get the 3 points. And, of course, Firmino should really have made it 2-0, shouldn't he, soon after, ball in by Trent Alexander-Arnold. It was a little bit overhit, but Firmino still should be scoring that, because it did come at him quite quick, but it was an open net, and he got a touch on it, and he should really have been scoring. But it was a poor miss, but it didn't really matter in the end, because Liverpool ended up winning the game 1-0 and another 3 points on this march to the Premier League title.
Yeah, like you say, another good 3 points and important victory once again, just to keep that gap to what it is, and we don't want any sort of movement towards us, do we? So yeah, fantastic 3 points. But then we moved on to Atletico Madrid in midweek, didn't we, Jay? And very difficult game to sum up, in my opinion. I thought there was a lot of I don't know, the dark arts from Atletico Madrid, if you like, and the referee was very, very poor, in my opinion. And they sat back, didn't they? And once they got the goal, 10 men behind the ball, not interested at all in attacking, just 100% concentrated on their defence. But we've got the second leg to come. But just give us your thoughts on that frustrating night in Madrid on Tuesday, please, Jay.
Well, it sort of panned out to similar to what I envisaged it was going to be when the draw was made in December time. And I just think sometimes our fans get a little bit carried away, a little bit giddy with things, and they totally underestimate certain opposition and sort of think Liverpool are this superhuman team, which at times this season, in the Premier League, we've proved to be the case, because to win 25 out of 26 games is absolutely incredible. It's virtually immaculate, isn't it, apart from the draw that we had against Manchester United back in October time. But in Europe, Liverpool have been a little bit dodgy the last couple of years in terms, especially away from home. We haven't been great. If you look back to last season, Liverpool lost every single game in the group stages, didn't they? We obviously improved upon that when we got to the knockout stages, but Liverpool's away form in Europe is not really great the last couple of years. And to get into Atletico Madrid was, to me, was the toughest draw Liverpool could have got, because the reason why I thought it at the time and the reason why I said it is because the way they are, it's all, it's going to be an intense game, an intense two-legged tie. The way Simeone has them well drilled, the way he sets his team up, it's as though he feeds them on raw meat leading up to games, big important games. And people were underestimating them because they've sold star men like Griezmann. Like, obviously Griezmann went to Barcelona, and then saying they're not the team that they once were. If you look at the league table, they're not doing too great in the league. And I think they were fifth at the time of the draw. Now they've moved up to fourth place. But when you look at their season and you scrutinise some of their performances and some of the stats that they've got, they've actually only lost about 4 games in La Liga this season, so they haven't lost a great deal of games of football, have they? And they've also hardly conceded any goals either. I think around about 20 goals or something, or even less this season. And when you factor in Liverpool have conceded 15 in the Premier League, and everyone's raving about how good Liverpool's defence is, they've only conceded a couple more, to be honest. I think it is in La Liga. So, testament to how well Simeone has them set up. And yeah, they may well have lost a couple of key players, but they're still very solid defensively, a difficult team to break down. And as I say, in my opinion, it was the worst possible draw we could have got, because they're the type of team where they make it physical. It's very intense when you play them. And the worst possible thing and the worst possible start for Liverpool the other night in the Wanda Metropolitano was going a goal behind early on, because it set the tone. It gave them something to cling on to, something for them to fight for, to defend with, for their lives with, and it was perfect for them. They're arguably the best defensive team, probably in world football at this moment in time, and they have been for a number of years, in my opinion. And it is all down to the way Simeone coaches them, because they're not easy on the eye. They're not a good team to watch. They're a horrible team to play against, and they're a little bit like the Spanish equivalent of Napoli, really. Napoli, we played them 4 times in the last 2 seasons, and they've had a little bit of an Indian sign over us. I mean, we beat them last season 1-0 at Anfield, but we lost twice in Naples and drew the game at Anfield this season. So we didn't have a really good record against Napoli, and they're sort of like the Spanish equivalent with an even better defence. And so it proved, because Liverpool really did struggle to break them down. I mean, I cannot remember the last time Liverpool in a game of football didn't have registered a shot on target in a game. I can't remember it under Klopp ever. I think we had 12 shots or something like that on the night, all off target. And we had a couple of good opportunities, of course we did, because Liverpool always do. I mean, Mo Salah was very frustrating. He's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? I mean, we all know he's a superstar. He's a world-class footballer, and in his first season he scored 40 odd goals for us. Didn't he? Was it 42 or 43? He tailed off a little bit last season. Had a bit of a dip. This season he's had another little bit of a dip. But in the main, he's a fantastic player. But he can be very frustrating, and he does miss a lot of chances. And the one in the first half, I mean, when the goalkeeper, it was a poor clearance and it went to Salah. It was just a terrible touch. And what was he doing, passing it to Firmino, who was obviously in an offside position? And really, we should have scored from it. Should have been an equaliser. And then he had another chance second half, didn't he, where he was free in the box. And I know he's not great in the air with his, he's not great heading the ball, but he should have done far better than what he did. So we did have a couple of chances, like gilt-edged chances, really. And as I say, frustratingly, Mo Salah missed them. On another day, he scores 1 or 2 of them, and Liverpool win the game, or get a draw at least to take back to Anfield. But
yeah, there was another one where the defenders headed it over as well, wasn't there, Jay? It looked like it was going right in that top corner, but that defender's just flicked it over the bar.
Yeah, as I say, it was a frustrating evening, wasn't it? And I mean, I don't think Liverpool really, we control the game possession wise, but that's everyone knew what we were going to do. Everyone knew Liverpool were going to see more of the ball against Atletico Madrid. It was whether or not we could break them down, and we simply couldn't. And here we are now, hoping for yet another massive European night at Anfield, and no one's saying we can't do it, but the problem we've got is this is probably the best defensive team in European, if not world football, and the issue we've got is if they get an away goal at Anfield, then we're going to need 3. And people are saying, well, we beat Barcelona, they beat us 3-0 in the Nou Camp, we come back and beat them 4-0. No problem, Atletico Madrid, they're not as good. May not be as good as Barcelona, but they're certainly a better defensive team. Barcelona defensively are very fragile, as it proved in the game against Liverpool at Anfield, because we've seen it the year before when they conceded a lot of goals against Roma, and they conceded a lot of goals against Paris Saint-Germain as well last season, and the season before, sorry. So, this Barcelona team, although they're blessed with the likes of Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez and what have you, they're fragile defensively, so they can be got at, and so it proved. Liverpool put 4 past them last year. Atletico Madrid are not fragile defensively, they're solid defensively. So, as I say, I liken them to a little bit like the Spanish Napoli. So it's, make no mistake, this is going to be a really difficult tie now to get through, because there's nothing to say Liverpool won't win 2-0 at Anfield, but if they score, Liverpool need 3. So, it is a little bit of a concern, and it's not ideal, but, it is what it is. And like I say, I just think some of them Liverpool fans who basically thought we were through and it was done and dusted when we got Atletico and they're not the team they were, they look a little bit silly now, because they totally underestimated what this Atletico Madrid side were capable of doing. And to be honest, it came as no surprise to me whatsoever what happened there the other night in Europe, because although I didn't think we'd lose the game, my actual prediction going into the game was a 1-1 draw. And I seen all kinds of predictions: 2-0 Liverpool, 3-0 Liverpool, 3-1 Liverpool, and I knew it wasn't going to be the case, because they're no mugs, them. Certainly not with the manager that they've got, Simeone. He knows the time of day, and tactically he's spot on, and he has done very well drilled, as I've said. So, it was a disappointing evening, and of course now we're hoping for a big European night at Anfield again. We've done it numerous times in the past. There's no reason why we can't do it again. But I think this is a very difficult game now, and like I say, who knows what's going to happen. But here's hoping we can get through, but we've got a job on now, mate.
Most definitely, and just my own observations from that game. I thought Atletico Madrid, when they didn't have the ball, they played very narrow, had bodies all over the middle of the pitch, and Trent and Andy Robertson had a lot of space on them sides of the pitch. Trent didn't have his best game by any stretch, and there was a lot of balls he put into the box that were either overhit or went over the bar, cleared by the defender. Thought Robertson done much better on the left hand side, but I just think in that second leg, I think this is the area where Liverpool are going to be concentrating on trying to get something from the game, because like I said, they played very, very narrow, bodies all over the pitch, and I think the wide areas is going to be very important in the second leg, and hopefully Trent and Andy Robertson can provide some ammunition for them front players. But another thing coming from that game, Jay, is Jordan Henderson went off with a hamstring injury. He's had the scan today, it seems, and I think news coming from the club was that he's going to look between 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks out, injured with this hamstring strain. So what sort of a miss is he going to be in that midfield area for us, please, Jay?
Well, if you go back to the end of November when Fabinho went off injured against Napoli, we were all devastated, weren't we, thinking, oh my God, we've got this massive fixture pile up now in December, we're going to the World Club Championship in Qatar, and we've got all these extra games, and the games are coming thick and fast, a game every 3 days on average, and it just we didn't miss him one little bit, because we won every single game, didn't we? We were fantastic after that Napoli draw at the end of November in the Champions League. We were great. We won every single game after that. I think it was like 10 on the spin or something, and it's one of them. Jordan Henderson was key to that, because he stepped up unbelievably well. I mean, I liked Jordan Henderson. I've always liked him. I think he's a fantastic professional, and he's coming for a lot of unfair criticism, shall we say, from some of our own supporters, even about that he's not good enough to be captain, and he should only be a squad player. And to be honest, I've thought myself, it's weird that he's captain, because Normally your captain is an inspirational figure, like the way Gerrard was, or he's your best player, which Steven Gerrard was as well. But sometimes he can be your best player as well. And the thing with Jordan Henderson, he's neither of them, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's nowhere close. But I tell you what, these last 3 months, 2 or 3 months, he's been absolutely sensational. And I didn't think he had the capabilities to be as good as what he has been. He's been fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not having all this stuff about him being favourite for Player of the Year, because if you're Player of the Year, you have to have done it right the way from August, right the way through to now. And in my opinion, he only really started performing to the levels required in around November time. I think before that, he was quite disappointing in quite a lot of games, if you see where I'm coming from. He wasn't always picked in games. I think, if memory serves me right, he didn't even get selected to start at home against Leicester when we beat Leicester in October time. So, personally, I think he struggled the first part of the season. I don't think he was great. I remember he was very poor in the Champions League away at Napoli, very poor at Sheffield United in October time as well. Or that might have been the end of September. But I don't think he had a good start to the season, Henderson. But I tell you what, the last 3 months, he's not half stepped up, and it's like a different player. He looks incredible. So, because of that reason, he is going to be a big miss. But Liverpool have got strength in depth in the middle of the park for me. I mean, now Fabinho's back. That's a big boost for us. And with Henderson being out the team, all it means now is it gives another opportunity for, hopefully, if he can stay fit, and Naby Keita to be more involved in games. Or, obviously Oxlade-Chamberlain's done quite well recently. He's started quite a lot of games this year, hasn't he, in 2020, and he's scored a few goals as well. Obviously, we've also got Gini Wijnaldum, and as I've just touched on there, obviously Fabinho is back from his long-term injury, and James Milner's also back from injury now. So I don't think it's not the end of the world, because the way I felt when Fabinho got injured, it felt bad, and it wasn't bad because we dealt with it fine, totally fine. With Henderson, it doesn't feel like it'll be as bad, if you know what I mean. There is a potential, though, that he might miss probably 4 or 5 games, though he might not return now until maybe the Merseyside derby at Goodison. So from that aspect, it does put the owner, because he's been in great form, and probably the form of his life, really, other than when you go back to 2014, when we nearly won the league, when he was vitally important then, and he got sent off against Man City, and that affected just then the knock-on effect when he wasn't available for the game against Chelsea, and obviously the rest is history. But this is probably the best form of his career, really, for Liverpool. And from that aspect, it's a bit disappointing, because what it then does is, with losing him from the team, it then means the onus has to go on one of the others that I'm saying there, that have to step up to the plate and sort of like replicate his performances over the last 3 months. But no doubt about it, it is a blow, because he is the captain at the end of the day, and he's a very good professional, a model professional as well. So, like I say, we're just going to have to deal with it. And all teams get injuries, don't they? And it's never nice when certainly when a player's in form and he gets injured. But this is why I'm likening it to the Fabinho situation, because the way I said there, I think Henderson was quite poor from August to October, November time. Fabinho was absolutely brilliant from August to November time, wasn't he? So if he can he's had a couple of games now under his belt. He's looked a bit rusty, certainly against Shrewsbury in the FA Cup. The first game, he was terrible in that game. But slowly but surely, he's getting his mojo back, and he's getting back to the player that we had at the start of the season. So, hopefully in Jordan Henderson's absence now, Fabinho's certainly one that'll step up. But we're obviously going to need others too as well.
Okay, spot on. Cheers, Jay. And just before we move on to the West Ham fixture, and we have a little talk about the potential lineups and stuff, I'd just like to ask you about your thoughts on the comments that was made by Timo Werner after his performance against Tottenham. He was asked by the journalist, wasn't he, about potential move to Liverpool, and he's basically come out and said that he needs to improve if he wants to be at Liverpool's level, but he's not denied it whatsoever. And I know you've had your doubts in the past, haven't you, about a potential move for him, but after that interview, have your views changed on Werner, and do you see him as an actual target now for the summer?
I just don't really know, to be honest. It was just a very, very strange interview, wasn't it? I mean, we know all about this Jan Agerfjord-Toft. I mean, he makes me laugh. I mean, he's linked us with Werner a few times, Jadon Sancho a few times, Kai Havertz a few times. I mean, I wish he'd make his mind up on who we're going to sign. And when you pull him up on it on Twitter, he sort of like beats around the bush saying, I just pass in for one what I find. I'm not saying you're going to sign him. And when you try and pin him down and say, well, who are we going to sign out of the three players? He can't give you an answer. So, I mean, I don't know. It was a strange question to ask him when he plays for another club who's just been in a Champions League game against another club. And yeah, he scored the winning goal. He scored the penalty. Everyone getting giddy on Twitter saying, he's going to be brilliant for us when we sign him. As I've said on previous podcasts, I'm not a fan of him. I don't think he's all that great. I think he's got pace. I think he's quite dangerous, but I think he misses a lot of chances. And he did again there against Tottenham. I said, didn't I, against Bayern Munich, he missed 2 or 3 chances. And I think against Tottenham as well, he missed a couple of chances. And yet he scored a penalty. Yeah. So what? Penalty's a penalty at the end of the day, mate, isn't it? And, I'm not really too excited about him, to tell you the truth. I personally, I've as I said in the past, I've watched him about 10, 12 times, and he's never really stood out to me where I've thought, wow, I'm blown away. I think he's going to be, if we sign, I want Liverpool to sign him. I think he'd be a great signing. Now, look, that's just my own personal opinion. Other people might look and think, look at his stats, though. He scored this amount of goals and he's got this amount of assists and created this, that, and the other chance-wise. Fine, it's all about opinions, isn't it? And he doesn't really excite me one little bit. I would be a little bit disappointed if he was our big signing in the summer for 50 million. I genuinely would. If Klopp and Edwards want him and Klopp and Edwards paid the money for him, then look, they've earned the trust of me, you, and any fan out there. They can do what they please, because if it's good enough for them, then yeah, it's good enough for me. But I still have my own opinion in terms of what I see with my own eyes and what I judge a player on. And I just think he looks awkward to me. I just think he looks a bit clumsy. He's not, he doesn't have that little bit of extra quality that I think you need to have to be a Liverpool player. I personally just think Liverpool should bite the bullet and go for Jadon Sancho, because I think he's the one. He's going to be a superstar. I think the difference is, £100 million Sancho or £50 million Werner. And everyone's going on saying, well, look, I'd rather pay 50 for him than 100. Well, I wouldn't, because at the end of the day, why settle for like the lower valued player? For what reason? Do you know what I mean? It's like, in my opinion, Werner could well be a good player for Liverpool, but Sancho could be a superstar. There's no way Timo Werner's going to be a superstar at Liverpool, in my opinion. So I don't see how he gets in Liverpool's team. Whereas with Sancho, he certainly could. Liverpool could switch to a 4-2-3-1 to accommodate him. And, I know it's not ideal, because that means Firmino's position would have to be tailored a little bit. But to me, out of the two, it's a no-brainer to get Sancho. He's 4 years younger. He's got superstar potential. He's like, some of his stats are incredible as well. He's not too far behind. When he hasn't scored as many goals, but he's got loads more assists than him. And like I say, he's 4 years younger than him. Do you know what I mean? To me, like with Sancho, it could be classed as an investment, in my opinion, because he's 19, nearly 20. You'll say you spent 100 million on him. You could get 10 good years out of him, average out £10 million a year. And if he does become an unbelievable superstar, the way people are billing him up to be, and, the way he looks, in my opinion, like all the attributes that he's got, I mean, we like to think we're the biggest club in the world at the minute, and world champions and what have you, which we are. But let's not be foolish enough to think that if someone like Real Madrid or Barcelona come knocking for your players, it's difficult to keep hold of them, as we've found out time and time again over the years. The likes of like Xabi Alonso and McManaman and Owen up down the years, and more modern times with Luis Suarez and even Philip Coutinho like 2 years ago. And I know it didn't work out for Coutinho, but the facts are they offer you silly amounts of money if they want one of your players. £142 million for Coutinho was insane. Now, I loved Coutinho. Absolutely brilliant footballer, but to get that type of money for him was just insane. And he's never justified his price tag, and he's never been loved there the way he was loved here at Liverpool, because he's been passed from pillar to post, and obviously he's ended up at Bayern Munich this season. But the point I'm trying to make is, if Sancho becomes a superstar at Liverpool, he might love it here, and Klopp might sign an even bigger deal and stay for even longer, and then he's here for 10 years. Great, fantastic. 100 million, it's being proved worthwhile, and because it averages out to 10 million a year, money well spent. But if he becomes an absolute superstar and Klopp moves on and he decides when he's 24, 25, ironically the age which Werner's going into now, because he's 24 soon, you look at it and you think, well, Real Madrid or Barcelona come calling, you're going to double your money for him, aren't you? The way money's inflated in transfer deals nowadays. So I just think Sancho is an absolute no-brainer. And people might argue and say, look, it's easy to say that, but it's £100 million. It's a lot of money. But we've touched on this time and time again. Liverpool, the money should be there.
Sorry, Jay, just having a little look there on Twitter, and there's been a few retweets there about Jadon Sancho, and from, I'm not sure the original source, but they're saying that Dortmund actually wants around 150 million euros for Sancho. Now, at that price, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be interested in that. That would see us out. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, who is going to pay that type of money for him? No, let's be brutally honest about it. I can't see any club paying it. The only club that I could genuinely see potentially paying it, and it's basically because they'd be so desperate and they want to try and stay relevant, would be Manchester United. And the only way that would happen as well is if they make it into the Champions League this season. And it's highly unlikely they're going to finish top four, but they could finish fifth. And if they finish fifth because of this City ban, it could be enough to get them in it. The other way into it is if they win the Europa League. But I just can't see a team managed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer winning a trophy, can you? So far out of his depth, it's unbelievable. I mean, I know they had a good win night against Chelsea, but again, a lot of fortune involved in it. Harry Maguire should have been sent off. There was nothing wrong with Chelsea's equalising goal at the time, which it would have been with Zuma, when, obviously Aspilicueta was pushed by Fred onto Brandon Williams and it got disallowed. It should have been allowed to stand because the initial, or a penalty to Chelsea, because Fred actually pushes Aspilicueta onto Williams. So, we've had this conversation before in the past. Everyone says Liverpool, but it's actually Manchester United, isn't it? Because they've had the most decisions this season. So the irony of all of them years ago under Fergie, where they were getting all the decisions, still getting the decisions to this day when he's been gone 7 years. So, no one can ever say it's Liverpool getting all the decisions. It's Man United. So this is what I'm trying to say, though. I can never envisage a team managed by Solskjaer winning a trophy. So they shouldn't really be in the Champions League next season. But if, however, they do manage to somehow get in it, then they could be big dangers to get Sancho. They're probably the only team with more money than sense that would pay that type of figure, because the likeliness is they're going to sell Pogba in the summer as well. So that's my thoughts on it. But of course, if it gets to that type of figure, then there's no way Liverpool are going to play ball, because it's just too much. The only way around it would be if we included a couple of players in the deal. So it's them type of deals are few and far between, aren't they? They very rarely take off. So, on that basis, it's unlikely to happen because of the transfer price and the fee. And that's always been the case, because Liverpool have obviously got their price and valuation, what they think he's worth, and Dortmund have got theirs. And if there's no compromise, or the player doesn't, nail his colours to the mast, if you like, and says, listen, this is the club that I want to join, come to a compromise between yourselves, because that's where I'm going. Unless he does that, which nowadays footballers, you see the pound signs, don't they? And whoever pays the most money in it. So you just have to see.
Okay, cheers, Jay. Right then, on to the West Ham fixture now, which is coming up this Monday evening at Anfield. So first of all, just give us your thoughts on a predicted lineup now that Henderson's out, and then your thoughts on West Ham and what sort of threat they're going to be posing us after resting quite a few players that they did against Manchester City in midweek.
Yeah, there's probably clout, isn't it, to say there might be a few changes, really. But as I say, I mean, Henderson's going to miss the game anyway, isn't he? I think with Oxlade-Chamberlain, he seemed to get a knock as well, didn't he, during that game? So I think the midfield trio may well be Keita might get a start in this game with Wijnaldum and also Fabinho. And then it's going to be the same front three, isn't it? Because Sadio Mane only played a short period of time against Norwich. Didn't he come off the bench to score the winner? Then he only played a half against Atletico Madrid because he got subbed at half time purely because Klopp was fearful that he may well have been sent off. So Mane will defo start, Salah start, and obviously Firmino start. So it's the defence then, isn't it? And as you said before, Trent Alexander-Arnold was very poor in midweek against Atletico Madrid. He was also quite poor against Norwich as well, so he hasn't really returned from the international break very well. But we all know he's important to this team because he adds the width and the creativity and the delivery, doesn't he? So he's got 10 assists this season, which is incredible, really, for a right-back, isn't it? It's generational talent, really, when you analyse the stats he's got there. I mean, I think Kevin De Bruyne has got 17 assists now, which is frightening, really. But when you consider Trent Alexander-Arnold's like second on the list, a young kid from Liverpool playing right-back, and he's got like that many assists, it shows his importance to the team. And then obviously Andy Robertson at left-back. So I don't think there'll be that many changes other than the fact that Henderson has to come out, and really because maybe Oxlade-Chamberlain's got a little bit of a knock as well from the midweek game, maybe it's Naby Keita time, and hopefully he can stay fit and doesn't get injured in training or the warm-up or whatever it is, because he's like major prawn crackers, isn't he? But I think it may be time to shine now for Naby Keita for the next month or so.
Yeah, potential for him to come into the starting lineup and take that place from Henderson, and Fabinho dropping into the six with Wijnaldum at the side of Keita as well. So just give us your thoughts before we go, Jay, on a score line, your predictions for them and your reasons for them, please.
Well, yeah, I think now we've got over the two-game rustiness, and that's what I normally seem to look at every time there's an international break or we have some sort of break anyway, and obviously now this is a mid-season break. It normally takes us 2 or 3 games to get back to the levels that we know we're capable of and get the fluidity back, the cohesion, the momentum building. So this is the 3rd game now, and West Ham are coming on a Monday night to Anfield under the lights, and they're a very poor side, and they very well could go down this season, West Ham. I mean, they've got some really difficult fixtures. They lost to Manchester City in midweek, and it was only 2-0, but it could have been 5 or 6 apparently. And it was just a rearguard action. They just, backs to the wall, just defended for their lives. And I just think it's going to be a similar set of circumstances against Liverpool, isn't it? We had a little taster of it not so long ago, didn't we? Where we played them in January as well recently, and we won 2-0, could have been 4 or 5 really when you analyse the game, because they did just defend for their lives, didn't they? And I know they had a few little openings themselves actually, but Liverpool were just, we had to be patient on the night. Got the first, got the second, and should really had a few more, I think. Right in saying didn't sell it at the post as well in that game. So I just think Liverpool might be smarting a little bit from the defeat against Atletico Madrid. And as I said at the start of the podcast, we're not used to losing games of football, are we? So neither are the players. So it's a case of they're going to be wanting to right the wrongs, aren't they, really? And I just think they're so focused on winning this Premier League title that by the time we play on Monday, Man City could be, 19 points behind us. We're all a bit wary now, aren't we, because they're closing the gap. But no, seriously, though, 19 points is still 19 points, but I think they'll want to maintain that gap again and make it back to 22, won't they, on Monday night? So I am looking at this game where not only should it be, all that matters is we get the 3 points, but I think this could be a game where Liverpool turn it on and give them a hide. We all know about David Moyes, stale, negative manager, not really evolved with the game of football. He was a decent manager 10 years ago. He's a horrendous manager now, and hopefully, I don't mind West Ham too much as a club, but with him being in charge, it would be quite amusing, really, if they got relegated. And I just think Liverpool are going to put another nail in their coffin on Monday night. And I think I can see a hiding, to be honest, Peter. And I can be quite cautious sometimes with my predictions. My favourite prediction that I do on the Radio City Talk show is normally 2-1. Me and Steve Odders all have a bit of a laugh over it because it's my favourite scoreline, my favourite prediction that I go for. But in this particular game against West Ham, I'm going to be very bold, and I think Liverpool will give them a hide, and I'm going to go for a 5-0 Liverpool win.
Wow, yeah, 5-0 prediction for Jay there, totally against his usual predictions. Not saying he's always cautious and stuff like that, but to go for a 5-0 victory is, like Jay says, it is very bold, and yeah, one that I'm hoping comes true. But my own thoughts on it, similar to Jay, we have struggled in the previous couple of games after the winter break that we had. I think the loss of Henderson might sort of let the shackles off the midfield a little bit, with Fabinho sitting in and catering Wijnaldum, trying to get more forward, and with that creativity from Naby Keita in midfield, I think we could pose a lot more of a threat going forward. So with bearing that in mind, my scoreline prediction, I'm going to go for a 3-0 victory for Liverpool in this game. Like Jay says, West Ham, they're not going to come. They're not going to try and attack Liverpool by any stretch, because they know that we've got the pace to pick them off. So they're going to sit back. They're going to invite all the pressure. We're going to have, I don't know, 65-75% of the possession on Monday evening, and it's up to us to turn that possession into goals, and then I'm sure we will do. We'll probably end up having 15-20 chances, if not more than that. So I'm going to go with a 3-0 victory for Liverpool in this game, and another 3 points on the road to this Premier League title come May. So just before we go, I have to say a big thanks to the LFC Day Trippers for putting out all our podcasts. Thanks to Gav, Phil, and all the guys over there for having us on board and putting out all our podcasts, and editing them. Big thanks to the @Liverpool online Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages for putting out all our podcasts on their platforms. Don't forget to keep up to date with the No More Knives campaign. Lots of good work in the Liverpool area, doing lots of things towards the knife crime and trying to get rid of that in the Merseyside area. So yeah, keep up to date with Paul and everything that's going on there. You can follow him on Facebook, follow him on Twitter, and the hashtag is the No More Knives campaign. So that's the Liverpool versus West Ham preview podcast all done. Thanks again for your time there, Jay.
No problem, mate. Hopefully it will be a goal fest on Monday evening, and we will win comfortably and go marching on towards this Premier League title.
Yeah, spot on. And then we shall be back with our next Premier League game podcast later on next week. So thanks everybody for listening. Don't forget, leave your feedback if you want to put anything on there to Jay, myself at the cop table. Always welcoming the feedback from yourselves who are listening, and any questions you have, we're always there to answer. So yeah, thanks again everybody for listening. That's the Liverpool versus West Ham preview all done, and speak to you all very soon. Goodbye.